This here is the Victory 4x4 Blitz bumper for the Toyota Tundra. Third generation, 2014 to present year, which we're in 2019. As you can see, it offers two 3/4-inch shackles, a hoop or without a hoop, a provision for a 20-inch light bar, or you can put in a perforated panel that we sell separately. It also has a built-in winch mounting location, so you can put a winch into this thing and yank it down the trail. So now I'm going to show you how to install it. Once you get everything unpackaged, this is everything that you're going to see. The bull pack's pretty minimal. It's just these that go with these brackets. These are going to be used to move the cooler back on the transmission cooler. These two brackets here, there's a left and a right. Those are used to hold the factory bumper once we remove all of the structure behind it. And then your main Blitz bumper. So anyways, guys, let's get installing this. So you can see we've already cut the section out of the bumper. I did that before we prototyped for the bumper. I'm going to cut to a clip of that in a minute. First, I'm going to get you to the point where we're ready to actually make the cut and start removing the bumper. First thing we're going to do is remove the grill. So it's going to be pretty easy. 10mm bolts. They're right across here. There's a couple of push pins on the end. Then at that point, we're going to pull out from the end. It's going to pop out, and then we pull it out of the way. My truck's a 2018. It has the cruise control, adaptive cruise control behind here. So there's going to be a harness that I'm going to have to unplug as well. So make sure you take care of that if you have that. So anyways, let's get this off. All right, now we can set this off somewhere safe so it doesn't get all banged up. Okay, so we're gonna follow a lot of the factory lines when we're doing this cut. You're gonna see right under here, we're gonna follow right underneath this ridge on the inside of there, around the corner here. Then we're gonna get into this panel here and we're gonna start cutting our way up and around that way. So I'm gonna use a body saw, this guy here. You could probably use different things as well, but you're gonna have to have something like this or cut-off wheel or something, and you can kind of hack it at first, just kind of get it out. Then we'll move all the guts out of the bumper, and then we can always clean up the edges that we cut after the bumper's off the truck. Okay, so next we're going to take off this crash bar. What we're going to be doing is removing the 6 nuts that are in here using a 17mm. I'm using an extra long socket. You don't actually need one that long, as you can see. I just have this out because you're going to need something like this when we go to do the installation back. The other thing you're going to want to do before you remove all of this is you're going to want to unplug your lights and your proximity sensors out here. Your proximity sensors are actually going to plug in. They plug up right up here, and then the back of your lights is where you're going to unplug your lights. Once we pull this crash bar off, this whole fascia bumper thing is going to come off as well. So just kind of be prepared for that. So make sure you get your harnesses unplugged, and then we'll start tearing into it. Okay, so now we have all those removed. You're going to see that the whole bumper is loose. What we're going to do is we're going to pull it off. You can't really pull one side and then the other. You're going to have to kind of pull it off evenly, otherwise it's going to bind up. I'm going to go ahead and wrestle this off. Okay, so now we're gonna use a 14mm socket. We're gonna take off 4 studs on each side here, and we're gonna retain those nuts because we're gonna use them to install the Blitz bumper. Let's go ahead and remove those. And these are now garbage. Incoming, camera guy. Okay, so now we have the frame horns out of the way. We're going to take off the factory toe points. You don't need these anymore because our bumper has integrated shackle mounts. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a 17mm, and we're going to take out the 2 bolts on each side, so 4 total. We'll go ahead and get those out. Heads up, camera guy. Just kidding. All right, now we're gonna do some work on this factory bumper situation here. You can see I've kind of got some hacked together stuff where I've actually hammered these brackets out of the way already. I've removed all the plastic that was over here when I put my lifts and tires on. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna have some plastic material on here that you're gonna wanna either retain or remove. It doesn't really matter which. And then also your brackets most likely won't be hammered up like you own some dirty Cherokee, Jeep Cherokee or something, but hey, I was in a hurry. All right, so anyways, 12mm socket, you're gonna take out these 4 on each side, and that's gonna allow us to move these light bracket and then this crossbar apart. Okay, so now we're gonna lift this section out of our way. We're gonna move this so we can work on that. And we'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, so now we're gonna wanna remove this from this aluminum bumper, I guess it is. 14mm socket, and there's 6 of them, 3 on each side. Go ahead and remove those. And go ahead and retain these nuts because we're going to use them again. Pull that off there. Repeat on the other side. Okay guys, so we have that separated. We no longer need this giant hunk of aluminum. So you know what that means. Camera guy! Okay, so these additional brackets here are actually going to hold this whole bumper fascia together. And they're going to sweep back like this. So the gusset's going to go towards the back. So this is the passenger side. On production models, we'll have a P and a D cut into this to help you figure out which is which. So basically what you're gonna do is you're going to attach it to this wing. And what we're gonna do, because we have adjustability built into this, is we're going to put it in the middle of the slots for now. And then when we fine tune this bumper, we can essentially level out the bumper, loosening and adjusting these brackets. 14mm socket. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and put this back into the bumper, like so, using the bolts that you took out earlier. We're gonna go ahead and get those back in. 12mm socket. Okay, and repeat on the other side. Before we install the bumper, plural situation, we need to remove this cooler back. So when we go to put our winch in here, we're actually gonna run into this cooler, so we want as much space as we can get here. So it's gonna take a little finagling. There's 2 bolts right here and here, and then we have a couple of brackets that move it back. Because of the way the hard lines go through here, you're gonna kind of have to bend it a little bit. If you've never bent a hard line like this before, kind of take it easy. We're just trying to make this thing essentially sit flush with this front header. So anyways, it's a 12mm bolt. You're gonna remove this on both sides of this cooler. First, we're gonna take this one side out. We're gonna leave that side for now. All right, so we're gonna take that bolt out, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of push in on the cooler like so. Okay. Now I have the bracket, which is going to go in here, so I can go ahead and get this one started. I'm going to use that factory bolt, wherever it is here, back in the bottom here, and then we supply a bolt for the top. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Okay, like so. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the bolt in. It's a button head bolt and a flange nut. Okay guys, so I took the bolt out on this side. I determined that it was easier to actually put this bracket in if this side's not even connected, because you can kind of move it up out of the way. So disregard previous instructions to lightly install that. Go ahead and put this bracket in like so. All right, and now we're gonna bring this bracket back down and we're gonna install this bolt again. Next, we're gonna take and kind of push this line in like so that we can bolt this together. All right, so now we can go back to our wrench here and we're gonna go ahead and tighten this up. You're gonna kind of leave this cooler kind of where it lies with these brackets here. And we're gonna go ahead and get it tight. So with everything tightened down and the offsets in here, you can see we're still not quite completely flush here, so we want to push this back some more. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of push on it like so. And you're going to see we're going to be moving this cooler back. Now you want to make sure that you're not hitting anything. So you don't want to be hitting this header. You definitely don't want to be hitting the frame. You want to make sure that it's clear through here. And if you need to, you can kind of pull these lines a little bit. Make sure they're not touching each other. Make sure they're clear through this hole right here so they're not rubbing on there. And as you can see now, if you want to come in, you can kind of see where I'm at. I got a little bit of space between the lines. I'm clear through here, I'm clear over that, and I'm clear here. I could probably stand to bring this out just a little bit more. Like so. And now we're good to go. So now we're going to go ahead and install the winch in our bumper and get that prepped and ready to install. If you're going to be installing a light bar or that perf panel that we sell that goes over this opening, you're going to want to install it now. You have 22¼ inch wide opening here, which doesn't accommodate every light bar perfectly. This one, for example, is a little bit narrow, so I'm going to actually space it with some washers on each side before I bolt it in. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the winch. I am putting a Xeon in here, and as you can see, I relocated the solenoid pack, so I had to remove that. I have the relocation kit from Warren, which gives me these extra long cables so I can get way up inside under the hood. We have the winch bumper prepped, the winch is installed, the winch line is in, the light bar is in, we're ready to get that thing up into place. First, we need to put this factory bumper back into place. So we're gonna go ahead and pick that guy up. Install it like so. All right, next up we're going to install the Blitz bumper on here. It's going to go right over those same studs right over the top of our brackets that are holding the bumper fascia on, and then we're going to reuse the factory nuts. So it's probably a good idea to have one of those handy when you put the bumper up into place. So anyways, Alex, let's do this. So those factory nuts we took off earlier, we're going to reuse those. They're 14mm. You're going to reach in here and go ahead and get them all installed. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's also not that difficult. You can come around the back side over here, stick your hand through, and get them all on. So go ahead and install those, 4 per side, tighten them down. Now we're going to reinstall these lower ones into the bumper, like so. We're going to get all 4 installed, and we're going to go ahead and snug those up using 17mm. Okay, so tightening up all these bolts is really going to try your patience. Don't do it on short night's sleep if you're hungry. But anyways, this is the solution that I came up with out of all the air ratchets, everything that I had. This seemed to work the best. It's a swivel with a 14mm socket and an extension. And what I'm doing is I'm coming through here, through the hole in our bracket, reaching up from underneath with my hand to put it on the nut that I need to tighten, like so, and then give it a little rat-a-tat. If you have the option to do this, this is definitely gonna make your life a lot easier. It's time to adjust the plastic bumper parts. I got a 14mm ratchet wrench. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach up through here to the back side where we put those bolts in earlier on those brackets, loosen it up so that I can move this around. No really good way to show you, so I'm just gonna describe it for you. It's a tight hole, it's dark, probably lonely. Yeah. And there's 3 nuts in there. Okay, so now I have it loose, and you can see we can move this around now. Well, I could have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that up, giving myself a nice even gap like so. Matching this other side. Well, I'm gonna have to bring that one up as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one in. The next adjustment we have is going to be this lower bolt that holds this plastic, and that's gonna change this angle here. Let me get this snugged up and we'll do that next. So once we have this gap set with that back part, we're going to fix this gap here now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a 12mm wrench, you're gonna loosen up these bolts that hold this plastic wing like so, and then we're gonna pull that out to the desired spot and then tighten it back up like so. And now you can see I have a nice even gap right through here. I've got a nice even gap across the top here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the other side. So the bumper's installed, the factory bumper's reinstalled. Now we just need to put the grille in. Make sure you plug in all your sensors. So your proximity sensors need to be plugged in, your lights need to be plugged in. From there, I'm gonna wrap up running the winch cable in, running the winch lines, and we should be good. So anyways, I'll check back in when I get it all done. That wraps up the installation of the Blitz bumper on the Toyota Tundra. As you saw, it's a pretty involved installation. You should allow yourself about 6 hours total, as well as installing the winch, wiring the winch, putting the rope on the winch, wiring your light bar, and getting it all back together. With that, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, 269-353-1184, or shoot us an email at info@victory4x4.com. Get yours. Let's hit the trail.